What if there was a way to present your logo and design work to clients that leaves a lasting impression and persuades them to choose your design? In this video, I'm giving away the secrets that I employ to successfully present my logo designs to clients. This is sponsored by Pitch. Firstly, you introduce yourself, and this is a great time not only to just gauge the client and how they are with you, but to also find out who's making the final decision. Maybe you're on a call with a few people, maybe a board of people, we've all been there. It can be quite daunting to know who's going to take the final decision. So always identify the person or the people that are going to have the final say over your work. Now, we use an app which is completely free called Pitch. They are sponsoring this video today, but we've been using them for a while now because, one, it can be completely free, which is how I started with it. It's super easy to set up your own brand in there and keep everything on brand. You can give it to a non-designer with the template that you create, made from another template, and they will be able to keep on brand with their presentations. So throughout the video, you'll be seeing how we create one in Pitch. The second stage is setting out goals for the meeting. Setting goals gives an expectation to the client so they know what to expect throughout, and it puts them at ease. All we're trying to do right now is put them at ease. You're telling them what is expected of them, and you're saying this is what you've expected of me. Structuring the meeting with goals at the start gives people direction in what to talk about so we don't fly off the handle and go into different talking points that make no sense. The meeting goals can consist of showing concepts to the clients or gathering feedback from the concepts. And a good goal to have is aligning everyone involved to a specific direction. The reason why I write that is to get everyone at ease. To them, they're thinking that you might have a fully fleshed out logo for them and they've got to either give the thumbs up or the thumbs down. So to mitigate this, we need to put them at ease. And that takes me on to the next step. After you've set out goals for the meeting, number 3, we need to educate them. It sounds so strange. Why do we educate clients before we've shown them the work? Expectations are high. They may be nervous or anxious, and they might be very emotional to the work that you're showing them. So we need to educate them on what a logo really is, or what the work is to you and how it works. So the first thing I like to do is explaining what a logo is and what it is not. I like to say that a logo is a mark that you can't fit all of the company attributes into. You can fit maybe one. A logo isn't the entire brand. You can't fit everything in there. A logo isn't just a squiggly mark, or it could be, but depending on the client, you can change that. And we also define what makes a good logo to get them on board with our system. So that's being appropriate. Is the logo memorable? Is it simple, and is it versatile? Something that I really love to say to clients is that you won't be wowed. Sounds weird to us, but when clients are coming into the call, they may feel like you're about to wow them with the work. Clients look for an emotional response to the design to test whether it works, which is kind of counterintuitive. A good logo can sink into the background very well without being distracting. So a good way of saying this is by either telling the client you won't be wowed, or you most likely won't be wowed. It does happen, depends on who they are. And that most of the time a logo isn't love at first sight. And you can tell them stories about certain logos, kind of like the Apple logo. When that was first created, Steve Jobs just said, yeah, that'll do. He wasn't wowed by it. It was just working. I also like to tell them as well very clearly that you can't just give all of the company values, all the mission statements. You can't just abstract that down or solidify it or consolidate it down into one mark. It is impossible. Another great thing that I've recently started saying, which has worked well, is by telling the client that we design logos not for the product or even the service, but for the idea of the brand, which I'm going to go into in more detail in another video. Okay, before we go into the next part, which is number 4, showcasing the work, let's talk a bit about the design of the presentation. You should always have visual imagery and written words that mean a lot, valuable words in your presentation. This reiterates points that you're making. It helps things stand out, and it helps the client remember certain parts. It also makes it more engaging. If I just had a video where I'm just talking at you, which is normally what happens, but if I had no B-roll or other shots, it wouldn't be visually stimulating enough. You get bored. That's why we all love TikTok with those 2 videos. Now with Pitch, they have hundreds of beautifully designed templates that you can use and customize to make your own. In fact, what I do on Pitch is I chose a template that I really like the layout of, it really spoke to my brand. Then all I do is create a slide style or edit one. I made a dark mode and a light mode for our brand. You can change the colors, the typography, the spacing, everything around your brand visual system so it looks like yours, and then you can change the layout. You can go into any template afterwards and change that style to be your branding, which makes life so much faster. Honestly, you'll save so much time with this. Now, let's get right into concept showcase. For me, I normally show up to 3 logo concepts. There are some designers out there that are superbly talented that show 1 concept, and they're normally freelancers, but because we're a design agency where there's multiple people working on the project at the same time, we normally have a few concepts that we think could work. I wouldn't show more than 3. You can show 1 or 2 or just 1 if you're very confident, but that's really up to you. If you were to take anything out of this video, the most important rule is to not show them work that you don't want them to choose. I've been in situations before, and so has many other designers, where we show them a sketch of a bad logo just to show them that we've done some ideas. And they've said, yeah, I want that one. It's the most frustrating thing that happens, but you can't blame the client because they're seeing something that they are emotionally attached to. They like that bad drawing or bad design, even though you were just showing it to prove a point. This takes a bit of practice and a bit of finesse, but only show parts of the process, the sketches that you know that they won't choose because it doesn't fit. Whilst showcasing your work, it's very important to also use the words that were in the brief to show how you solved the problem. Remember, we are graphic designers, logo designers, we are solving a problem for the client. They have given a brief, and if they haven't given one, you've most likely given them their own brief. There will be sentences and words describing what the client wants to solve and what they want in the logo within the brief or emails or DMs or wherever you get your briefs from. For instance, they might suggest to abstain away from cliché and common symbols. So when we're presenting our work, we show how we abstained from cliché and common symbols by literally writing it when we're showcasing our work and process. They may ask for a strong and memorable mark, and you explain with those exact same words using the same language the client used that you created a strong and memorable mark, which leads me on to the next part. We need to show our working out without them choosing the bad work. Something that we like to do during this concept showcase is to show them drawings, the behind the scenes, the mysterious part of the process for them to fully encapsulate and to understand and appreciate the amount of work that's gone into this idea. Clients get most excited when you talk about the mysterious part where they don't see. You have to put yourself in their shoes and really understand what is it that they would be excited to hear about during the presentation. That could be the drawings or why you don't think certain parts of the creative elements that you've used work. Okay, you've shown them a part of the work, but this is where the meat on the bones happens, and this is where you prove the concept. Whenever the logo is being shown, we use mockups. Why? To a client, they don't know how the logo will look in real life, and they will use their imagination all the way throughout. You can't blame them, we do it ourselves. As designers, we know how logos will work because we've sort of obsessed over these shapes for ages, even looking at other people's. Now, we're not calling the client stupid or ignorant, but they just don't know. They haven't challenged themselves to do this. So what we need to do is bridge that gap of fantasy and reality by mocking up the work in applicable and contextual mockups. There are many websites to get free mockups, and I'll link a few down below. So there's no excuse for not using mockups wherever you can, as long as they apply to the company. So for a clothing line, you would show the logo on clothing. For a web design agency, you would show the logo on business cards and on the top of the website. For a beer brewery, you would show it on bottles of beer and the vans that they'll be moving around in. This further proves the concept that the logo works. The main idea of the mockups is to make sure that they don't have to use their imagination. You're being their imagination for them. This is what sells the work. Sponsor or no sponsor, Pitch is actually a really good tool to use. It makes it so easy for you and your team to create on-brand presentations. So even though there's loads of templates, really these templates are just a framework for you to have a good layout. You can change them all, change the style to your brand, and better yet, you can hand it off to a client. So for instance, if you were tasked with creating an on-brand presentation for a client, you can do even better. You can very quickly create a template or a style in Pitch to then give to your client, so they'll always stay on brand using the same fonts, the same colors, and a specific layout. And it will save you time because you don't need to create a style guide. It's all there. They are limited to that template. Better yet, Pitch is free, so go ahead and try it out with the link down below. If you stayed right to this point in the video, then kudos to you. You're really cool. Thank you. Please say lemon down below so I can thank you in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, then you most likely enjoyed this other one that I've created just for you right here. Thanks for watching.